slightly cooler day today, so I thought I'd have another crack at some strimming. I'm taking a sort of bit at a time philosophy, see if I can knock it out whilst this week it's a bit cooler in the mornings. So I think with grass cutting, if you can be bothered to bring your strimmer or your lawnmower out bit by bit this time of year, because it's sort of growing less densely, you can get away with doing a bit of a chop every now and then. That's what I'm trying to do anyway. So well underway with that section. But I've been thinking a lot about shading in the polytunnel. With the warm weather we've been having, there's a real risk that things get singed. So I don't really want to buy a load of shading because it's not cheap. But I was wondering whether if I put a couple of sheets that I use for DIY over the top, then that shade might be beneficial during the peak of the day. I'm sure you've been doing similar things just to stop them being damaged to your plants that you've spent so much time on. Well, I only harvested these tomatoes yesterday, and looking around I can see probably a dozen that have ripened within the last 24 hours, which is pretty astounding really. But I guess all the hot weather we're having is conducive to ripening tomatoes. Well, they're going to have to wait, because today I'm going to do a job that I've been putting off for a long time. Yep, the infamous path, and possibly pinning down the membrane path as well. I've acquired a couple of additional slabs. Well, 3 I think. 1, 2, 3, and a couple of these round ones. There's 3 there. Now, typically the size of the pavers that I need are not the ones that I managed to acquire, but I'm thinking I could take these that I dropped down into the middle. How many am I going to need? 1, 2, possibly 3. If I have to, I'll take one from within the polytunnel and replace it with one of these round ones. See how we go. Right, let's see what we've got here. If I remember rightly, I had to put a brick underneath to support it. Yeah, and I think that's fallen away, so I'm just going to put something in this edge, otherwise the paver will just collapse over time. And I keep this sort of edge, hopefully it'll be good at retaining the paver that I put in here, or the couple of pavers I put in here. And then hopefully this path will be done. Right, let's see what that looks like. So that's got the step done, and I've taken 2 out of here. To be honest, I've got a couple of options. Rather than use those, which can be used somewhere else, I can just leave myself a small gap between these. Might be a bit of a trip hazard. Or I could take 2 from this area, which I hardly ever get into, and shufty them up. I think I'm going to do that. It does mean I've got to faff around with this bush. I might do everything I need to, just leave those 2, put them right when the tomatoes are finished. I think that's what I'm going to do. Well, that little bit of movement sent this cane wayward, so I just need to secure it. And this plant's obviously got a bit of extra weight going in the one direction, so I'm going to fix it to the top bar, give myself a little bit of slack here so that I don't make too difficult a job of it. And then I should just pull that over, get scissors, and secure it. Right. I think we'll wrap it around it to start with. There we are. I've got a couple of wayward ones here as well. So I'll do those while I'm at it. So the tomato season is going very well indeed. And I think, as I've said before, we're in for a bumper season. You've just got to be a bit careful in this super hot weather that it just doesn't destroy the plants in the absolute maximum heats that we're getting at the moment. So just take care, perhaps water maybe a bit more frequently, and if you can shade, then I think that's worth doing as well. I'll get on and do this. Well, now that I've got those pavers left on this membrane, I don't really need to pin it, but I've got another location that is desperately in need of these pins that I made, and that's the squash bed, because all the edges really are sort of, well, flapping. So I'm just going to gather these up and go over and see if I can pin some stuff down. Well, we're all set for some scorching weather. Highest temperatures ever recorded in the UK. And I'm thinking, I really need to shade this somehow. I've been racking my brains about the best way to do that because I don't have any specific shading. But I have got a lot of nets and I could put some sheets up. I've got some old sheets I use for decorating and I'm thinking either inside or outside. But either way, it's going to get too hot in here for the health of the plants that I've grown, so it'd be a shame to lose them. Let's have a look at the nets. Mila's making a guest appearance this morning, and she's, well, behaving. Don't know how long for, but the going's good. Right, let's go and have a look, see what I've got. Now I'm thinking all this shading, it's only traditional sort of bird netting and crop netting, but I'm sort of hopeful that it might do something. So I've got white and I've got black. I'm thinking the black might be good, but I guess the only way to do it is to put it over the top and see how it fares. Oh, I've got some blue as well. That might work. What else? Everything else appears to be solid plastic. I could try some white, see whether that has any effect. I guess to some degree it will help. And I've also got some of this traditional fleece which could shade. Right, let's see what I can do with it. Right, we've got a right old mix here, including some sheets. So I think we'll start with this black. I think this is long enough, and what I'm thinking is I could put it right over the top and sort of spread it out. So let's see. It's going to be a laugh. Okay. Third time lucky. Good times. Right. Go around the other side, see if I can get far enough down to anchor it both sides. That would be good. I could just reach this. Yes. Okay. So I figure if I can put some weights on it, it's not going to reach the ground, but it might just help. Right, figure out some weights. Right, I've got a box of tricks. I'm going to tie it, I think, to the ground. Probably be the easiest thing, rather than faff around with weights. So I've got myself a bit of string, and if I can just get it down to this level, then I can probably fix it either in the ground or to the wood strut at the bottom. So well, that seemed to go okay. I don't know how much shade it affords the tunnel, but I figure every little bit's going to help. So let's try some of this white. This is a long section. Oop. Note to self, get balance first. Right, another go. There we go. No, as they say, third time lucky. That'll do it. All right, get around the other side. Well, that's certainly a belts and braces job, but it is definitely shaded in here now, and I think that'll make the difference. It's only a few days that we've got to keep this on and keep things from burning, but I think that's probably worthwhile. Wow, just leaves me to water now. Well, that's me pretty much done. But it occurred to me one other thing that really does help in a greenhouse or a polytunnel is to dampen down the paths if you can, and particularly when you've got pavers like this. They just, well, they become radiators. They heat up and then they just keep the heat. So keeping the ground damp just keeps temperatures down. That's me done for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, why not like and subscribe? And get my uploads every Wednesday and every Sunday at 8 PM. So from a shaded hoop house or tunnel in South Wales, I hope the heat is manageable for you. Good times.